The OLFI One5 4K action camera. Is this the best bang for buck action camera in 2019? Before we start the video, we need to say that OLFI have actually sent us this camera for the purpose of this review. As always, we'll do our best to be impartial and give our honest opinions of it, but we needed to put that little disclaimer at the front. You know, advertising laws. The OLFI One5 4K is actually the second generation action camera from the UK outfit OLFI. It boasts a 16 megapixel Sony Exmor-R CMOS sensor. Now that can record video at 4K 24 frames per second, and if you want to do super slow-mo, it can do that at 120 FPS, but only at 720p. It comes packed with a huge host of features for a small budget action camera. You have time-lapse and video-lapse modes. You of course have photo mode and burst photo. You have things like motion detection and loop recording. It also has an awesome LED display and built-in image stabilization. Connectivity-wise, the OLFI One5 also has the micro USB and micro HDMI that you'd expect with a small camera, and also Wi-Fi connectivity, which allows you to use your mobile device as a remote for this camera, and also use the OLFI app to capture your footage off the camera directly onto your mobile device. The camera as standard also comes packed with all the accessories you would ever want for an action camera, which is interesting as GoPro now seem to be leaving this out of their hero models. You have all the normal 3M pads and mounts that you'd expect, as well as a waterproof case. It also comes bundled with a really good quality 32GB SD card. As well as these standard accessories, OLFI also sent us the bundle version, which comes with an additional waterproof case that has a microphone input and their external lavalier mic, which is actually a really good quality microphone for an action camera. But with all that said, let's look at the good bits of the OLFI One5 4K action camera. The build quality, it's the first thing you're going to notice when you open this thing up from new, and it is really surprisingly very good. The build quality throughout, including all the accessories and even things like braided cable on the external microphone, are really testament to how much quality OLFI put into the build of this device. Now it weighs a mere 60 grams and stands at 5 by 4 centimeters in size, so it may look a little flimsy, but actually it feels incredibly premium in hand. It's truly a really hardy construction. It feels very nice in hand. It has a rubberized exterior. Even the action on the buttons feels quite good. It far outstrips its £150 price point. The next really good bit about this action camera is how easy it is to use. It has a really clear and simple to use menu system and functions, which for an action camera is incredibly important. You're going to be using this camera in fast moving and high paced environments, and that means you're going to have to work quickly. So having a camera that's easy to use is really important. Now with the OLFI One5, this is clearly helped by the LED display that's on the back. It's very bright, very clear, and the menus within are very easy to navigate throughout. This is aided even further by that Wi-Fi connectivity that we were talking about earlier. It allows you to use your mobile device, which has an even bigger screen, to act as a remote for the device itself. So that connectivity and that ease of use is really at the forefront with this little action camera. Next up, and this was a real surprise for me, is the actual audio quality for this camera. Now typically action cameras suffer dramatically with having poor audio. Even premium GoPros suffer with this, but the sound that you get from the OLFI straight from the camera is surprisingly very good. It does a great job at picking out the human voice in environments and just seems to be a very usable audio quality. I would go as far as to say that you could actually use this as a cheap budget vlogging setup. The audio quality is that passable. So with all that said, let's look at the bad points of the OLFI One5 4K action camera. Now my list of bad points is drawn up from the limitations that you get with all action cameras. They're tiny, robust, rugged little cameras that you put in places that you wouldn't put a dedicated video DSLR. And as such, there's always key compromises that are made to things like audio quality, video bitrate. There's always something that's going to suffer, and the OLFI One5 is no exception to this. And the first one of those key compromises is the battery size. Well, for a camera this size, your battery size is always going to be an issue. OLFI have got a 900 milliamp hour battery inside the One5. Now that's stated to last for around 90 minutes of record time, so for sure that's long enough to capture pretty much any action scenario that you're going to be in. but it is still something you're gonna have to be mindful of. But even with that said, when you compare it to its branded alternative, that's almost double what the battery life you would get from their latest model. And talking of GoPro, the OLFI One5 will undoubtedly get compared to the GoPro Hero 7 Black. And in truth, that's an unfair comparison. The Hero 7 Black is around twice the price of the OLFI One5, but yet this camera stands up to it in a lot of ways. Now for sure, this doesn't have that hyper smooth stabilization or the awesome 240 FPS slow-mo that you'd get with a GoPro, but this is a perfectly priced action camera that far outstrips its competition at the same price point. The other compromises that are made with an action camera this small and at this budget are the things you would typically expect, like dynamic range and video bitrate. And yes, they are noticeable if you were to put the videos side by side with a dedicated video camera. But a dedicated video camera, this isn't. This is an action camera. This is a camera you're going to put in environments and in situations that are incredibly rugged and high-paced and likely to get damaged. Angles that you would never consider putting a dedicated video camera within. So for that, and in many ways, this is the perfectly priced action camera. So, in summary, I'm by far a fan of action cameras. Actually, in fact, right up until the GoPro Hero 7 Black, I actively disliked them. But what we've seen at the end of 2018 and into 2019 is a shift happening. A shift where you can get decent quality video in a rugged palm-sized action camera form. The fact that you can now get so much feature-wise and quality-wise in a camera that costs only £150 is genuinely exciting for all video makers. The OLFI One5 being placed at that price point is equally as exciting, as it now allows you to get that decent quality video in those rugged high-pace environments that an action camera should, without the worry of destroying your £500 camera as it dangles out the side of your car. So in many ways, the OLFI One5 really is the best bang for buck action camera in 2019. That's been my grab and go review. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.